Hey everybody, it's Jack and welcome back to another video. I've got an awesome one for you all today. Today I'm going to be talking about a commodity as well as the stocks that actually participate with this commodity that I think are entering the infancy stages of a super long and prolonged bull market. The commodity and the stocks that go along with it, I think are going to be great investments for the next decade or even 2 decades. So we're talking long-term picture here. There's a lot of really exciting things going on in this industry right now and really driving factors that I think are going to allow for growth moving over the next few decades, as I mentioned. So the commodity or asset in question is actually uranium. Yes, uranium that goes into nuclear reactors to actually create nuclear power. Before I dive into uranium stocks, whether it be uranium miners, uranium royalty companies, you name it, let me first cover why I think uranium is a great investment in today's market when other stocks are at all-time highs. People are fearing potentially a market correction. Let me talk about uranium, the asset and commodity itself, and why it's really promising in today's market. So there's really two main reasons that I think the outlook on uranium right now is very bright and very positive moving forward over the next few years. The first being that we're having this huge shift in the world and a necessary shift towards clean and renewable energy. And this is driven by the fact that countries over the past few years have put really hard targets in terms of requirements that they have to meet in terms of energy efficiency and green energy, whether it be 25% of a country's energy coming from green energies by the year of 2025, maybe 50% by 2035, or even 100% by 2050. There's a lot of countries right now that are putting these targets in place that are going to be held accountable when the time comes. So over the next few years to a few decades, they're really gonna have to start to put the infrastructure in place. And that leaves a really great opportunity for nuclear power generation to come in and fit that role. So first, zooming out and just looking at the uranium price per pound over the past decade or so, we can really see a lot about how the market sentiment has been. So back in 2005, we actually hit an all-time high of $138 per pound of uranium, and then it saw a significant decline, and then it started to rally into 2011, and then Fukushima happened. We were at $70 per pound for uranium, and then really ever since then, since really 2005, for the better part of a decade, so all the way until really 2016, we saw a terrible bear market for uranium. It went all the way down in 2016 to the 12-year low of around $18 per pound. Since then, we've really seen a steady growth for the past 4 years, really starting to pick back up. And up until around 3 months ago, it was at $30 per pound. And then we started to see some traction in the uranium markets in general, and it really shot up over the past few months to where it's currently sitting at around $48 per pound, which is really great to see because at those lower prices, really $30 and below, it's actually more expensive to produce a pound of uranium than it can actually be sold for at those low prices. So $30 and below, give or take there. So it's actually a loss for those companies to actually go out and produce or mine uranium if they're not able to sell it for a higher price and actually gain a profit. And what's really promising as an investor in today's market is even though we've seen such a run up in uranium over the past few months, around 50% increase over the past 3 months alone to where it's currently standing at, there's still a lot of runway to even get close to those all-time highs of $138, which is always good to see that there's still so much upside to get back to those levels. So getting into the discussion about nuclear power is carbon free. It's a clean energy source, and it actually makes up 55% of America's clean energy today. Not only that, but it's actually the only low carbon energy source that provides scalable 24/7 base load power. So this is critical to provide high loads of power 24/7. Certain other clean energy or renewable sources such as wind or solar just can't get that kind of scalable power 24/7 that nuclear can. And really the main thing that I think is the one thing to take away from nuclear energy generation is the fact that it's the most efficient source of power generation that we have today. The factor or rate that they use is nuclear reliability, and for nuclear it's currently sitting in the low to mid 90s, 92.5% as its capacity factor. And if we look at the other options such as natural gas, it's 56.6. The next closest clean energy or renewable energy is hydropower at 41%. And this just goes to show that nuclear is actually twice as efficient as those other clean or renewable energy sources. So this is why I think it is going to be a driving factor to help countries get towards their sustainability and clean energy initiatives over the next decade and beyond. If countries fall behind and they really need to start to close the gap on their goals and targets that they've set, the best option for them is nuclear. So we're seeing that across the globe, a lot of countries are really trying to bolster their number of reactors that they have in terms of nuclear reactors. And this is going to help bolster the demand for uranium as the more reactors come online. As they start to produce this energy, they're going to need more and more uranium in order to do so, driving up the price. Which leads me directly into reason number 2 that I think uranium is very positive and in the infancy stages of a bull market. And that is the global supply and demand issue that we're currently seeing in the uranium markets and the industry itself. The demand for uranium actually in 2021 in today's market is higher than the actual supply that we're currently producing around the globe. So we're actually going through more uranium than we're producing at the annual basis right now. So this is going to cause a supply and demand issue, or it already has started a supply and demand issue, where we're going to start to need more and more producers of uranium, or else the supply will just not be enough to go around. And when this sort of thing happens, when you have the demand going up, but the supply either staying the same or diminishing, what happens? Well, the actual commodity price for whatever is in demand actually goes up itself as it becomes more rare. And this is one reason why a lot of uranium miners or producers in general right now are actually stockpiling physical uranium and storing it. They're banking on taking advantage of this supply and demand imbalance that we're currently seeing by actually storing lots of physical uranium, hoping that the price then goes up as supply becomes limited. And then at that time, once the uranium goes up in price, they can put theirs on the market and sell it for a great premium from what they bought it from. So even though nuclear power is becoming more prominent and more reactors are coming online at a fast rate, we're not really seeing the same thing come in production of uranium. You would think as more demand is needed, more supply would become available and more companies would look to be mining and producing uranium. However, that's not the case because, as I mentioned, those low prices of uranium over the past decade really hindered the ability for companies to come in and mine and produce uranium at an efficient manner. So the global supply for uranium has actually been dropping over the past few years. However, the demand has been increasing. And this is that root cause of the imbalance that we're seeing. And really because of this imbalance, I think over the next decade or so, we're going to see a lot of countries and governments spend a lot of money into initiatives in order to actually boost production of uranium and mining it, because the world and its power will not be able to operate, especially here in North America, if we don't do something about this production issue and really be able to bolster supply. We're already in a shortage and it's just going to get even worse. And we're already starting to see some initiatives get in place in the US. I believe a couple $1 billion of Biden's infrastructure plan has actually been put aside for nuclear power as well as uranium production. So this is already a promising step in the right direction. If we look at the actual supply and demand issue in 2021 alone, the demand expected is 191 million pounds of uranium in order to fuel all of the reactors in the world. And the 2021 production is actually expected to be 128 million pounds. It's actually a $63 million pound difference in terms of the actual production needed versus the demand. So that's quite a staggering number if you think about that. And this gap is only supposed to grow over the next few years, which again goes to show the importance of uranium and why a lot of companies right now are stockpiling physical uranium. So now that we've covered those two main reasons why I think uranium in general is a great investment in today's market and has a great outlook for the next 10, 20 years down the road, not only because of the clean energy shift, and uranium being the most efficient producer of energy out there. And then secondly, the supply and demand issue that we're currently seeing in the uranium industry. We're going through globally more uranium than we can actually produce on an annual basis. So that's starting to cause an imbalance in the markets. So now as an investor, what kind of companies are out there that we can potentially take advantage of? Is it miners, royalty companies? Let me now touch on a few companies out there that are really promising. And the first is actually one that I've already mentioned in the past. I did a video where I actually sat down and interviewed the CEO. It's Uranium Energy Corp, UEC. So if you want to check out that video, I'll link it up above. But let's quickly touch on how Uranium Energy Corp has been doing and some of the moves they've made that have been in the news recently. So if we look at how Uranium Energy Corp, or ticker symbol UEC, has done over the past few months since I released that video. I released that video on September 8th when the price of Uranium Energy Corp was sitting at $2.93. And as you can see from the graph, it's currently trading at $4.32. So from that date, it actually ran up as high as 86%. So it actually went up to over $5 per share. Since then, over the past few weeks, we've seen a little bit of a decline and sell-off in Uranium Energy Corp. It's since pulled back and looks to be following a really nice trend line in the upwards direction, has some support levels in place. Not to mention that Uranium Energy Corp has some really good things going for it right now in the news. Just recently, over the past week or two, it was announced that Uranium Energy Corp is actually buying another uranium company, Uranium One. and is actually acquiring all of their assets, as UEC has really been going big on stockpiling physical uranium and also getting access to close to production or in production mines. This acquisition is actually a milestone one, as after the acquisition, Uranium Energy Corp is now going to be the largest uranium company in the Americas, which is something to note. So as I just mentioned, Uranium Energy Corp is now the largest uranium company in the Americas, which is super exciting. And since I posted that last video, the share price has absolutely gone crazy, as the whole uranium market is really starting to take off. And the second uranium company that I'll now talk about that you actually has ties to UEC, funny enough, is one that is actually a royalty company. So if you've been a fan of the channel and you've seen some of my previous videos, you know I've really gotten into researching royalty companies. They're a really cool investment opportunity where you, by buying into one company, it then goes out and invests in a bunch of different mining projects where they actually take royalties. So they take a percentage of the profits in all of the projects they invest into, which I find really exciting as a shareholder, because you're getting a little piece of all of these exciting projects, but not taking on the responsibility and risks that go in being the main miner or the main producer. Not to mention, but you get great diversification because you can invest in different projects and mines or streams that are all around the globe, different parts of the globe at different stages of their actual production. So you can really diversify really well as a royalty company, which again, I'll get into with the company that we'll now talk about. So the uranium royalty company that I'll now get into a little bit more details of why I think it's a potentially really good investment if you are looking to get into the uranium market. It's Uranium Royalty Corp. So first and foremost, on what stock exchange can you find Uranium Royalty Corp? Well, in Canada, if you're Canadian and you're trading on Canadian markets, you can actually find this one under the ticker symbol URC on the TSX-V, and it currently trades around $6 Canadian, and it currently has a market cap of $500 million Canadian. And if we look at the chart for the past 6 months, we can actually see that the share price has doubled over the past 6 months alone, going from $3 a share to over $7 at one point a few weeks ago. It's now had a little bit of a nice healthy pullback. It's sitting at the $6 range, which could potentially be a good entry point for anyone looking to take advantage of the uranium markets over the next few decades. And if you're in the US, Uranium Royalty Corp trades on the NASDAQ under the ticker symbol UROY, UROY, and it currently trades just under $5 US at around $4.80. Uranium Royalty Corp also has two analyst price predictions. Both are buy ratings. One sits at $5 US and the other sits at around $5.93, an average being at $5.47, which would be a 15% upside from the current share price, with the high end being a 30% increase. So let's now dive a little bit deeper into the actual company itself and see what it has going on. The first main thing to mention is the fact that it's a royalty company. So of course it deals in uranium royalties, and these can be two different types of royalties. The first being where they invest into a company at the beginning in terms for a royalty on all the profits. So the company that either mines and produces the actual uranium itself, then sells it. Uranium Royalty Corp gets a percentage of the actual profit off of the sale. And then the second type of royalty is a stream. And actually, instead of being a percentage of the actual profit, Uranium Royalty Corp actually gets a percentage of the uranium produced from the operation, which then they can sell themselves or store as physical uranium, which is nice to have the option to do one or the other depending on how the market is doing. A few highlights that I really like about Uranium Royalty Corp is the fact that they have a really strong balance sheet that they can use to either buy physical uranium or buy into more royalties. They're sitting on over $100 million in either cash or physical uranium that they've stockpiled, which is awesome. And then second main one is the fact that they have such a large and diverse royalty portfolio. So Uranium Royalty Corp currently has 16 different royalties, and these include a few world-class royalties such as McArthur River and Cigar Lake mines. And then the third main one that really helps Uranium Royalty Corp stand out above its competitions is its expertise in its management and board of directors, which is led by their CEO, Scott Melby, who is the president and CEO. He has over 37 years of experience in the uranium industry, so somebody you can really get behind. And then they also, on their board of directors, have, who I actually sat down and interviewed, the CEO of Uranium Energy Corp, Amir Adnani, who also has decades of experience. So these two men leading the way and helping to influence the decisions made by Uranium Royalty Corp gives me some confidence in their abilities moving forward. Another thing to note is that Uranium Royalty Corp, a lot of the royalties they operate in, so a lot of either the mines or operations, are actually either co-partnered with other big companies. So they're actually in partnerships with some of the major players in the space, such as Uranium Energy Corp, Cameco, Orano, Yellowcake PLC. So a lot of the big players in the uranium industry that have been around for a while. And in terms of their actual royalties, they're very diversified geo-based. So you can see that they have some in Canada, a lot in the US. I really like the North American presence, as North America right now relies a lot on actually importing in uranium from the Middle East or Europe. So having actually more production facilities and operations in-house is going to allow them to actually take advantage of some of the funding that comes from governments. One of the key partnerships that Uranium Royalty Corp has done is with Yellowcake PLC, and what they actually did was invest in a big stake, so around 4.6% ownership in the company. And this allowed them to actually go ahead and acquire over 1 million pounds of uranium from the supplies of Yellowcake. Yellowcake's expertise is in the actual storage of uranium. And through this partnership, Uranium Royalty Company has the option to acquire up to $31 million US of uranium between now and January 2028. So this is really promising, as it gives the company constant supply or access to purchasing uranium. Uranium Royalty Corp's current royalties are also very diverse. So as I mentioned, they currently have 16 royalties that are in different stages, and all of these royalties are very unique and different. They all offer either a streaming, so they would get a percentage of the actual uranium produced at the mines, and others are the pure play royalty, where they get a percentage of the profits, so they don't actually get any of the physical uranium. And the big takeaway is that you really just wouldn't be able to get this kind of diversification in just a normal uranium company. This is really the strengths of the Royalty Corp. You get that diversification and mitigates the risk of not having the capital costs that go with actually setting up and operating the mines. Another huge advantage for Uranium Royalty Corp is the fact that there's not a whole lot of uranium producers or miners actually in North America currently. As I mentioned, because over the past few decades, it's been not a profitable business to actually mine or operate any production facilities for uranium. They really have a first mover's advantage in the space. So they're currently one of the leaders in the industry here in North America. So there you have it. Really, uranium in general, any uranium stock, whether it be a miner, a royalty, you name it, has done really, really well over the past few months, as uranium itself, the price for uranium, the commodity, has gone up dramatically over the past 3 months or so. However, I truly think because of the supply and demand issue we're seeing with uranium, coupled with the fact that countries are really looking for clean energy, and what better option to look for than nuclear power, as it's the most efficient form of producing energy that we currently have. I think these are just going to be great tailwinds that'll push uranium forward over the next few decades and really into a bull market. I'm currently super excited about uranium personally, and I'm definitely going to be investing into a uranium company over the next few weeks. I'm still in the research phase, and a couple of great options I wanted to share with you today. However, there are some ETFs out there as well where you can get more diverse exposure to uranium as a whole, which is just another cool option. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on uranium down below in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Lots more videos coming your way. I'll see ya in the next one.